I think it's well known that China is going through the most intense period of repression at home since its crackdown on the Tiananmen Square democracy movement more than 25 years ago. What is less appreciated is the lengths to which China goes to prevent criticism of that record of repression. Let me begin with the United Nations and go on to other governments. But sadly, the response has been fairly weak. I suppose the paradigmatic case many of you witnessed here in Geneva this past January when President Xi Jinping visited. And the UN, obviously at China's request, cleared out the Palais des Nations, sent the staff home, barred NGOs from participating. And it was if the UN was complicit in Xi Jinping's insatiable quest for sycophantic adulation and his terrified antipathy to any public criticism of his human rights record. Bombing the civilians of Eastern Aleppo. Good point. And people had the opportunity. One reason why the United Nations is such an important forum for the Chinese people is because domestic human rights advocacy has been virtually shut down. We're aware of, the 200+ lawyers who have been detained, the decimation of Chinese human rights groups. It is virtually impossible to do public human rights advocacy in China today, which is why the United Nations is so critically important as one of the few fora which is available to the Chinese people. But it's for that reason that China is determined to shut off this venue as well.
Being housed in a building that's named after a U.S. leader with a very, very dark history on race.
Xi Jinping presents himself as a strong man, as a tough guy. In fact, he's running scared. And he is scared that, some misconduct by the Chinese government is going to lead to a public conflagration. There are thousands of incidents of public unrest every year because of corrupt or abusive local authorities. And what Beijing is most worried about is that some local act of injustice will somehow become a national cause, that a local victim of Chinese misconduct will become the Chinese Mohammed Bouazizi, who suddenly sparks the Chinese version of the Arab Spring.
The U.S. administration is prepared to take up the defense of the human rights mechanisms in the UN, for example.
And that is why, their strategy is really a nip-it-in-the-bud strategy, to try to block anything that might spark that broader sense of discontent with Chinese policy. No question about it. She has, an ultimate boss in President Trump.